7 days away from right now is WrestleMania. Hard to believe. Time flies, man. We got to slow it down. It seems like 2024 is right around the corner. Slow it down. But when you're excited about something, I guess you can't wait for it to come, right? People are already talking about Halloween that love Halloween. People are talking about Christmas. It's March. But a lot of people are actually looking forward to this WrestleMania. The card itself, pretty damn stacked. With John Cena versus Austin Theory for the U.S. Championship. Trish Stratus and Lita are going to be wrestling in 2023 at a Mania. Pretty damn special. You have Finn Balor versus Edge. Hell in a Cell. Cody Rhodes taking on Roman Reigns for the ultimate prize. You have Kana Asuka taking on Bianca Belair for their top prize. Over on the red brand anyway. It's Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and the Usos. That whole storyline. The match should be next level. Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther, I'm sure, are going to put on a show. And you could keep going on. It's a lot. WrestleMania somehow, slowly but surely, man, got stacked along the way. And last night, SmackDown 3/24/23. There's only one more week of programming left, guys. WrestleMania is a week from today. In fact, by the time you guys are watching this, Stand and Deliver for NXT will already be on the airwaves, man. So this is it. You really got to kick things into high gear. And last night, what everybody is talking about coming out of last night, you had some good wrestling, right? Some matches actually over 15 minutes in length. So you had longevity in the wrestling matches. You had cool moves, sequences, some flips, few dives. You had it all. But that's not what everybody's talking about, right? It's what BC has always told you. When you got good storytelling, that's what we're going to be talking about. Professional wrestling is about larger-than-life characters and stories that we care about. Stories that leave you on the edge of your seat, captivate you. That is when you're going to have the whole world of pro wrestling buzzing. And once again, last night, there was a big storyline, and it had nothing to do with the bloodline, by the way. A lot of people like to say, well, yeah, but once you're done with the bloodline, you got no more good stories. They put all their eggs into one basket. Not necessarily. First of all, that bloodline, they have about 4 different stories rocking, so you have to give them credit. The bloodline is 4 different wrestlers, so give them props, man. Roman and Sami have their own thing, I get it. But also the bloodline, as in the Usos, have a separate thing going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that's been pretty damn good, pretty solid. Then you have Roman and Cody. Then you have Roman and Jey Uso. The seeds have already been planted for that after WrestleMania, at any which point WWE wants to kick that into high gear. So you've got 4 separate storylines. It's not just like it's one story with the bloodline. So let's give a little bit more credit. On top of that, there was another story that was flying under the radar the entire time. The father and son dispute storyline. Rey Mysterio and Dominik. And slowly but surely, sometimes it was much more of a cool-off period. Other times it seems they were kicking it into high gear. Last night, man, was that culminating moment that set up the Mania match. We've been waiting months for the punch heard round the world. And that pop, the buzz ever since. That is captivating television. That is how you intrigue. Get people captivated to your story, man. You build it up for months. 2 weeks in a row, SmackDown has delivered a catapulting, captivating moment. Absolutely catapult your emotion because the moment is so captivating. 2 weeks in a row. Last week, the hug heard round the world. And that was built up for months to get to that moment when everybody was on their feet. Electric for that hug heard round the world. And here we are a week later, and it's the punch heard round the world, set up by months and months of storytelling and building for that moment. They sat on it week after week when they knew they wanted to pull the trigger on it and actually do it, but they waited And that was the moment. Even CM Punk, Phil Brooks, who has been heavily in the wrestling news this week, even he was watching over on Ray's Insta, I believe it was. I don't think it was WWE's actual. I think it was Rey Mysterio's, where he says every man has his breaking point. Son, you'll find out at WrestleMania. Something like that. Rey Mysterio actually, or CM Punk commented, "Thank you, Rey. I've been wanting to do that for 13 years. CM Punk was watching SmackDown. CM Punk to WWE confirmed." You'll be hearing those reports within the next week or two. Anyway, guys, there's a lot to talk about, a lot of good, especially that storyline. Now, on the flip side, there is a huge negative, a huge bad that we do have to talk about, and that is the Charlotte Flair agenda. And whether you're a fan or not, we all can agree what happened last night was absolutely, atrociously embarrassing. That was embarrassing. I actually felt bad for Charlotte Flair in the middle of the ring, but I told you guys this was going to happen. That's what happens when there's no connection and you fail to change Charlotte Flair. You just repeat the same process, the vicious cycle, and here we are in 2023 with the same damn reaction, and now it has gotten to embarrassing levels, but the machine doesn't care. They'll keep pushing this same product. What am I talking about? How did it get to embarrassing levels? If you watch the show, you know exactly how, but BC is going to go over it all, and it's coming up right now. I ain't going to waste any more time. Big swig of coffee. We come right back. We talk SmackDown 324-23 right now. 1 week from WrestleMania. Go and my gold team. Activate those gold cards, my channel members. Make sure you guys are amped up 24/7. You know the routine. You guys are the front lines. You got to keep rocking. A couple of prerequisites before we start this amped up podcast for Saturday, March 25th, 2023. Just 1 week away from WrestleMania. I always got to do that in the Vince voice. But this amped up podcast will be focusing on SmackDown for March 24th, 2023. But before we kick it off, a couple of prerequisites. Number one, Smokey. Much love and appreciation, respect, and thank you right back, man. Smokey threw BC a coffee in yesterday's amped up podcast. YouTube added a thanks button down below where you can tip the content creator, throw him a coffee, and Smokey showed some much respect yesterday, man. In that Starbucks line, highlighted comment notification comes up. I'm like, what is this? Smokey throwing BC a coffee. Appreciate that, man. Thank you right back, honestly. And lastly, Deontay Thomas. Welcome to the membership crew, bro. Welcome to the gold team. I ask one thing, Deontay. Make sure you keep that gold card activated at all time. Being a channel member on this channel holds a lot of prestige and a lot of weight. You are now a gold member, man. You are the front lines of the unit. So you got to act accordingly. Deontay Thomas, welcome, bro. Always cool to see new channel members. Had to give Deontay a shout out as well. So, a couple of new individuals showing that utmost love to the channel. I had to start this off giving that right back. Now we go to the start of SmackDown. Cody Rhodes versus Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium. This was a 19-minute match. I'm going to say that again for those in the back, a little hard of hearing. This was a 19-minute match. Match wasn't bad. Ludwig gets some shine. But having Cody take 20 minutes to beat Ludwig Kaiser isn't exactly a ringing endorsement for WrestleMania, guys. I mean, 20 minutes against a Ludwig. A lot of people are probably questioning, what is a Ludwig? Now, I'm not going to go that far. I want to show him some respect, but 20 minutes? 20 minutes to barely defeat Ludwig. How long is it going to take to beat Roman Reigns? 6 hours? BC got jokes. BC being funny. No, I'm being 20 minutes to beat Ludwig. You got to believe Roman's at least going to be 3 times that. You might as well just make it an Iron Man match. 20 minutes. I doubt very much Roman and Cody's going to go more than 25. It's weird, man. It wasn't believable to BC at all that Cody Rhodes would have to take that much a lot of time. BC, it showcases Ludwig. Relax, man. Well, nobody's losing sleep over it. Of course we're relaxed. Don't mind me. I'm running a show here that thousands of people are going to end up seeing. So, yeah, I have to be entertaining as well. So I have to be amped up. I am 24/7 anyway. It doesn't take that much to amp BC up. But, you know, don't mind me in my presentation. I'm still asking the very real question. Why did it take 20 minutes for Cody to beat a Ludwig? Odd to me. Post-match, Paul Heyman tells Cody. It's more bizarre even thinking about it the next morning, you know? 20 minutes to beat Ludwig. I mean, if you saw this match, there was 2 full maybe 3 full commercial breaks. Cody's sweating his ass. Ludwig's got the best of him for half. What is happening to Cody? You're the one going to take on Roman? You're the one going to conquer Roman after 2 years? You can't. You can barely take out Ludwig. And I'm a Cody fan, man. I'm pushing for Cody to take the title from Roman. I'm all down for that. I don't see any other possible scenario that Roman can walk away with it just because he's about to be a 1,000-day champion. This is bigger than that. Those titles have to finally come off the motherfucker. And I love long title reigns. But if you're not going to show up to work that much, if you're not going to work Mondays especially, you shouldn't have 2 championships. You shouldn't have unified them in the first place. The best point right now, the best thing for everybody is Cody to get the title, split those sumbitches up, let Cody get the WWE Winged Eagle title back, and you can keep the stupid WWE logo on the other one if you want. Anyway, moving on. Post-match, Paul Heyman tells Cody not only will he have his work cut out for him Monday night against Solo Sikoa, but next Friday, Roman Reigns and him will once again go face-to-face before their WrestleMania clash. So Cody says to Solo, and I quote, You will find out Monday exactly what I told you this past Monday. You're not ready. And then he tells Paul Heyman, he says, Mr. Heyman and Roman will find out the same thing at WrestleMania. He's not ready. BC was expecting Asuka to hit the ring, take everybody out, and declare that none of you are ready for Asuka. Get it? Because that's what Asuka usually says. It's funny. Anyway, that's how we ended. So 20 minutes, 19 of Ludwig and Cody, and then we just set up Solo versus Cody for Monday, and next week Roman and Cody will have another face-to-face. They didn't have anything for Cody's storyline with Roman. Roman didn't want to work Friday. He's got this part-time schedule. We are, at that point, a week away from WrestleMania, and this guy doesn't even bother to show up to add another layer to the story. No, I'll just sit home. We'll watch fucking Cody and Ludwig Borga. Remember that? Ludwig Borga. That was an old wrestler, man. Older. A couple decades ago. Ludwig Borga. Now it's Ludwig Kaiser. Anyway, that's what we'll do. And then Paul Heyman and him will have a few words. Storyline-wise, man, I felt Cody and Roman really got electrified Monday night, this past week. And then last night was just kind of a step back. You know, kind of took a seat on the back burner. Shouldn't be happening, man. But the full first half an hour was dedicated to Cody Rhodes and Kaiser and Paul Heyman saying, I don't know. I didn't like the first half an hour. Can you tell? Is there any other way that I can tell you this? Michael Cole then drops a big piece of information before break. John Cena will kick off WrestleMania weekend. So Cena, in theory, for the U.S. title is going to skyrocket night 1. That's pretty big, actually. Sometimes people don't want to know what the first match is going to be. But I mean, this is pretty big. That a lot of people will be excited for that. You know, you got a whole night of WrestleMania, a whole weekend of WrestleMania, and you know from the jump you're going to see Cena for the championship against Theory. So that was a pretty big announcement, actually. And then Charlotte Flair is in the ring, cutting a promo. Oh boy, this is when Charlotte's about to cut a promo, and this is not even shade, it's just a year after year after year, It's the same story. You get your pillow, you make yourself a nice cocoa, a tea, nice coffee, whatever your beverage is. Maybe you can get somebody, call a friend, call your mama, your papa, anybody. Maybe they could do a bedtime story, over Charlotte Flair's promo. But you got your pillow, you got maybe a Snuggie on or a onesie, and you snuggle in, man. Snuggle on the couch, snuggle in the bed. But you know that better than NyQuil, Charlotte Flair will put you to sleep, man. Her promos for years, it's not even shaded. At this point, I don't even care. It's facts. It is sleep-inducing. Sleep-inducing, just short of putting you in a freaking coma for the rest of the show, at least. Is a Charlotte Flair promo. But here we go. Charlotte's out there. Luckily, and they kept it sweet. I think they know that. The machine knows that. So this was a 3-minute promo in total. Probably would have been less if the crowd wasn't already telling her after just 60 seconds that they were bored out of their skulls. So what's BC talking about? Well, let's just start off by saying that didn't take long, did it? After just 3 months, 3 months of being back in this baby face, right? This big reaction in Tampa Bay. Everybody's so happy to see Charlotte Flair. It only took 3 months for that to turn into booze and for her to already be a heel again for the 12th time. Who told you that was going to happen? That's BC. That's not even a pat on the back. I told you 3 months ago when Tampa gave her that reaction, I go, listen carefully, because we've played this game over and over and over, week after week, month after month, year after year for the better part of a decade. At least 7 years-ish? We've played this game. And I told you this is not going to sustain. It's because she's been gone for a minute. And sadly, Charlotte Flair said many times the reason that I'm booed is because I haven't gone away for a while, so they haven't had a chance to miss me. And BC was flabbergasted by that, man. Absolutely. I'm 100% with you guys. I was befuddled by her answer. She thought that we were booing her for years because she's never gone away for a long period of time, so we never had a chance to miss her. Because, of course, she's thinking about the big pop you get when you first return. She's not thinking long-term. If you're still the same individual character that there's no connection to, after the original pop, the initial pop, that's it. That's it. It's going to go right back to business as usual. That's not going to change. So sure enough, she goes away, she comes back, Tampa Bay gives her a nice reaction. She's like, yeah, that's all it needed. What? As the weeks went on, you started to say, going backwards. It's the same Charlie and it's the same reaction. It's a vicious cycle. BC told you this was going to happen because for the 6 years I've had this channel-ish, I've been telling you this is the facts. There's no connection. So the machine gets behind her full throttle once again. The night she comes back, what was it, December? The night, or beginning of January, one of the two. The night she comes back, she wins the Women's Championship. She beats Ronda Rousey, gets the championship, and everybody just lets it go because it's Ronda, right? As long as the title is off of Ronda. But you just destroyed Charlie again, right? When she came back, we were hoping there was a lot of tweaks in the character, like a complete reset. So not only if you're just a Charlie fan, but if you're just a wrestling fan, you can at least put up with Charlotte Flair. Because at this point, it's literally, please, just can you get off the TV screen? It's like old school Roman Reigns, how much it's forced, and at least half the audience, even more for Roman and even more for Charlotte, doesn't give a shit about them. Until Roman finally turned heel the right way and they really put the machine behind him the right way. Roman, Joanna-wise, started calling his own shots. Paul Heyman started helping him. And that is when Roman started becoming undeniable, electric, got us to the edge of our seat. The storylines were epic. Charlie has yet to do that. They keep turning her face and heel 67 times, and it's not working. There's no connection. I cannot stress enough how this has now entered embarrassing levels, man. BC told every one of my amplified unit members it would not take long before the same old cycle would rear its ugly head, and it is a vicious cycle. Charlie has had at least, let's bring it down, right? I'm always exaggerating for entertainment purposes. 64 face heel turns, but she's had about 12 because you don't even realize it. You don't even realize she's turning heel because she naturally just draws that way. She's a natural heel anyway. The problem is there's still no connection even when she's a heel. That's the problem. But the second the crowd doesn't react the way she wants, you'll see. She did it again last night. She instantly just goes heel. It's a defense mechanism. It's the insecurities rearing their ugly head from Ashley Flair. And it reaps into the Charlotte character, and that can be exposed snap of a finger. You can't do that with your audience. So then the machine has to obviously turn her heel anyway because she's being booed out of the buildings. So then she goes face. But then that doesn't work. So then she goes back to heel. It is a vicious cycle. We've been doing it for 6 to 7 years now. And the heel turns and the face turns happen because management doesn't know what to do with her. And management doesn't know what to do with her because there is zero connection with the crowd. Nobody is taking a moment to reset her. I don't know if it can be saved by now. I don't know if the whole crowd can ever really get behind Charlotte Flair long term. I don't know if it's been ruined. There has never been for 7 years a connection with Charlie, yet they have pushed this one wrestler, and this is still the reaction. Guys, this is as honest as I can be with you, man. If you're a Charlotte fan, I know that's tough to hear. I hear you. Right? I'm a Jinder Mahal fan. That's hard in today's wrestling world because nobody wants to hear that shit. But I'm a Jinder Mahal fan. You don't hear me talk about it too much because I know my audience. I know the wrestling audience. They don't want to hear that. Jinder Mahal has a billion things that need to be corrected before he ever becomes legit. Doesn't mean I'm not a fan, but I know that, right? So I declare that. I say that because it's truth and facts as much as I don't want to believe it or like it. Because I have to believe it. It is the facts. And whether I like it or not, it's going to remain the facts. If you're a Charlotte fan, I hope you understand that outside of your fandom, the rest of us are trying to give a shit. We just can't. There's no connection with this lady. She comes down, I am the queen, bow down to the queen is the character. I don't even know what that means. Or, okay, you're the queen. There's been 1,000 fucking queens. We just had a Queen Zelina Vega recently. So she's in there, and then she cuts the most robotic of promos all the time. It's the same shit. There's no energy, passion, no reason to be at the edge of your seat for the promo. The storylines don't intensify with her promos. When she's in the ring, she doesn't like to sell for people. She just doesn't. When you really start to swarm her with punches or kicks, she's going to come right out like you're not even touching her so she can get the offense. I've studied this shit. It's what I do as a critic. I dissect this shit. It's sad to say. You talk about her athleticism. She's athletic. Yes, that's it. That doesn't make her better than everybody else. In fact, Naomi is more athletic, and Naomi got shafted by this company because they just wanted to promote Charlie. No, we have to have the fucking blonde up on all the trucks. Besides, we have Bianca with the other title over there. She's playing second fiddle. No room for Naomi or anyone else. When Charlotte gets back on day one, she has to win the title, and we got to rocket her right to the main event of WrestleMania. But why? There's no connection with this fucking woman. Going back to her wrestling, okay, she's athletic. There's more athletic than her. She used to do a cartwheel in her entrance. Wow. She does a moonsault that 97% of the time doesn't even connect. She does natural selection. That's it. That's it. What athleticism are you seeing? She's not doing 630 planchas off the top turnbuckle. I don't understand how we came up with this myth that Charlotte's the best female wrestler in the world, or at least even in that company. That's a falsity. The best wrestler in that company is no longer there, and she's playing in New Japan and Stardom right now. Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. The most athletic is no longer working there. Her name is Naomi. The most physical badass is in that company getting nothing right now, not even getting crumbs. Her name is Zaya Lee. She's the most physical badass. Right there with her would be Kana Asuka, who might finally get her moment after all of these years, never even winning a WrestleMania. Her momentum completely slaughtered at a WrestleMania by Charlotte Flair. Her undefeated streak ended. Kana Asuka. Before she was Kana Asuka, that was just Asuka, undefeated. Charlotte Flair had to ruin that. And it's not her fault, obviously. That's booking. That was Vince McMahon who did that. At the hands of the push, the mega push for the Golden Child Charlotte. And what did it lead to, guys? All of these years later, half a decade plus over. What did it lead to? What you saw last night. Insta-boos. Please get out of the ring. Get off the TV. We're still in the same fucking thing. I'm hoping that even Charlie fans can see, like, this is not good. She doesn't always have to be pushed as the top spot. She doesn't have to always be in the title picture, much less the champion. When she comes back after a month off or 7 months off or 7 years off, she doesn't have to win the title on the first night. This mega push for somebody that there's a lack of connection with and to is absolutely detrimental to the women's division as a whole and WWE as a business. Don't believe me? Look at the metrics. Charlotte Flair is never the most buzz talk about. She's never the top merchandise seller, not even top 5, not even top 6. And guys, there's 2 females in the top 6 for top merchandise sellers. Charlotte Flair, nowhere on that top 6 list. 2 other females easily leapfrogged. But it's Charlotte Flair pushed for year after year after year, and nobody can tell me why. I can see if she's moving the needle so far to the other side that, it's pinned there and business is booming because of Charlotte. I can see that. Every metric is telling us it's not the case. Other females are intriguing the audience more and making more money for the business. BC's done his homework. So I cannot fathom why we are still in 2023 when there's no connection to Charlotte Flair. She gets booed every time she's a face. She has to strangely, oddly, awkwardly, embarrassingly turn into a heel out of nowhere, then turn back into a face because that runs its course, and there's better heels that leapfrog her, but yet we still play this game. Like, are we going to play this game for the next 10 years? Is this really what the women's division is going to circle around? Somebody who doesn't even move the needle, does not properly connect, doesn't connect at all. What am I saying? Properly. At this point, we would take improperly. What am I talking about? 1 minute into her promo last night, the crowd was bored AF and started to what? They started to what her. Now, mind you, she's a face, even though WWE is botching this tenfold. The match is a shit show anyway. Rhea and Charlotte has been absolutely dreadful as a storyline. It's more like a non-factor. But Rhea Ripley is over there taking on Bayley on Monday night. Why is the heel in Judgment Day a heel faction, right? Look what Dominik is doing. Look what Finn Balor is doing with Edge. Right, Damian Priest always interfering, taking out the faces. Obviously, Rhea Ripley this whole time has been playing the heel. And then Monday, out of nowhere, she takes on Bayley. What the fuck is she? Why is a heel taking on a heel Monday? And it wouldn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because this is a shit show personified. So 1 minute in, and the crowd starts to what? The face, the champion face going into Mania. What? They didn't even care. 60 seconds into the promo, they did not care about Charlotte Flair. She actually had to stop. She didn't have to. She did this. It probably would have been better if she didn't acknowledge it. It wouldn't have maybe have been a bigger issue, and then she wouldn't have had to take a zinger at the crowd, which, in effect, turned her heel again last night. But she did acknowledge it because IRL, Ashley Flair is very emotional. So she stops the promo, guys. When they started to what her, she stopped the promo. And she tells the crowd to show some respect. This is really important to me. Guys, she goes like this. This is a quote. Are you guys really wanting me right now? Guys, show some respect. This is really important to me. And that's when they just lost it. They were like, who the fuck are you? It was embarrassing that a performer would have to ask the crowd to stop chanting because I'm trying to tell you an emotional story. Now, yes, of course, the crowd can be annoying AF when they do the stupid what when we're trying to understand a promo. That's what I've been trying to tell you for years. I'm trying to tell you that there's no connection, so we don't care about her emotional story. That's what I've been trying to tell WWE. Like, you have to understand it's not working, and it's going to ruin any story you try to tell in the future. Because you're parading her out there with the fucking title all the time, and the title picture, and all the main events, like she's the greatest thing since the BC channel or sliced bread. Or chocolate pudding. It's not the case. She's far from that. And here we are last night. And she had to stop her promo 60 seconds in because the crowd was already bored and wanted to be done with it. And she asked them to please, are you seriously whatting me right now, she says? Show some respect. This is important to me. And they lost it at that point because it was embarrassing. And they just started to boo. Like, get out of here. You're asking us to listen to you. We paid money for this to be entertained. Get out. This is probably the first time I've been talking about this Charlotte situation since I've had the channel because I saw this happening. I saw the whole women's roster just being stuffed down for one person, and that one person was not moving the needle like the company was hoping. And they tried everything. Face heel 1,000 times. They tried to stick her with Asuka for the longest time. When Asuka was a champion, they tried to give a rub to Charlie by tagging her up with Asuka. I mean, they tried every trick in the book. When Becky got injured after Nia Jax busted her nose up and Becky was out, and that was at the heat of Becky's like momentum, right? Becky Mania was running wild, man. Come on. They gave the gimmick to Charlotte Flair. They had her take on Ronda Rousey, and then she started becoming like the I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks of me. I'm going wild with kendo sticks and chairs. They gave the gimmick. They tried everything, and here we are in 2023, going into Mania. That could possibly be the main event of one of the nights. And they're whatting her and booing her out of the ring. The crowd starts to boo, and she instantly goes heel. She starts talking about how everybody... I don't know. What was she telling? I can't say overlooked her because the machine has been behind her from day one. Nobody's overlooked her. Shit. She's been catapulted to the top from the day one. Day one. I don't know what she was saying, but she zingered to her. She said, all of you have built those bricks, I think is what she said. Built the bricks to who and what I am now. And I'm a wall that can't be stopped at WrestleMania. I'm totally like making some of this up. It was along those lines. But she looked right at the crowd. She went totally heel when she was getting booed at that point. All of you have built those... And now the crowd is really booing the shit out of her. She just went heel like that. She just went fucking... Basically, she kind of was anyway, man. No, she wasn't. Have you... Look at every Charlotte appearance since she's returned. Nothing has told you she's going heel. BC was the only one to tell you that that's the only way this is going to end up. A 12th heel turn. And don't worry, if you want to see her face, by SummerSlam, she'll be face again because they don't know what to do. And the reaction is not there, face or heel. So they just keep flipping it, and they hope that like it stays fresh for the 2 to 3 months. And then when it runs stale, they turn her again. Hope that it runs fresh for 2 to 3 months, and then flip her. It's like a New Day pancake. You just keep flipping that shit, and you hope you don't burn out. You hope you don't burn that pancake. And now, once again, we are all left with this shit show of a WrestleMania match. A repeat of a match we already saw at WrestleMania years ago. And it sucks because we want to... we really want to support Rhea when she gets that title, and it's a big moment, but I mean, I can't get behind this match at all. I don't know what I'm least interested in. Charlotte and Rhea, or Omos and Brock Lesnar. So there won't be maybe a double turn, basically. Like, Rhea will go face because we all respect her and we're going to want to see that moment when she hoists the title up. And then maybe Charlotte goes heel. You don't got to worry about that. That already happened. Can't even get a double turn. Can't even get a cool moment at WrestleMania. That was already ruined. And they tried to keep Charlotte off TV several weeks too. They didn't want to like overplay her. It doesn't matter. Come through the curtain. If you're the same product that we did not invest into, buy into in the first place, we ain't going to years after just because you are stubborn and keep parading her out there. We ain't going to buy that shit. We showed you with Roman Reigns. You better change him if you want us to invest. They did. They did it properly. Joe and Paul really invested into it, so the crowd could. And now Roman is where he is. Charlotte is still the same Charlotte from 6 to 7 years ago. Are we going to play this game for the next 10 years? That's the question BC has now, because there is no connection. And now, and again, this is what I was going to say a few minutes ago. I've been harsh on this subject for justified reasons for the whole period I've had this channel, 5-6 years. This is the first time I can remember saying that this Charlotte agenda has actually gotten embarrassing. This is embarrassing. It's a Jerry Maguire situation. If you've ever seen the movie, guys, if your girl ever wants to have a nice movie date and you want to enjoy the movie, Jerry Maguire is the best of both worlds. Your girl will get a little bit of the romance tale, and you will get the sports tale, because Jerry Maguire is Tom Cruise. He's the lead character. He's a sports agent, and he's trying to help this star wide receiver played by Cuba Gooding Jr., and they're both magnificent in this movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. is absolutely wild. He doesn't understand that Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise, is trying to do everything in his best interest. He just has to change his ways to get the biggest contract and get people to love him. And Cuba Gooding Jr. doesn't understand this. So he's just being his wild self, and he refuses to change. Jerry Maguire at one point is like, help me. Help you. Help me. Help you. It's one of the best lines in movie history, bro. And he repeats it because at this point, Jerry Maguire is starting to crack. Because Cuba is not meeting him halfway. It's like all of the wrestling world is trying to tell Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Paul 3H's Levesque, and anybody, any suit and tie in pro wrestling that will listen in WWE, help us help you. We're trying to help you with the Charlotte situation. Ashley Flair is a good woman, man. Emotional, good-hearted. Charlotte Flair is not connecting. I don't know how many more time has to be discussed in years going forward about this Charlotte situation, but here we are in 2023. BC said 3 months ago when she came back, I said this. Some people still refuse to believe. BC, I love you, man, but you got to stop with the Charlotte thing, man. You got to understand it's different times now and fans are behind her, man. See, listen to the crowd at Tampa. And I said, all right, well, deal. Now, let's come back. Let's come back by WrestleMania. I said this numerous times. Yeah, here we are. Haven't even hit WrestleMania yet. I said the WrestleMania crowd would start to turn a week before, and this is keeping her off TV several times over the last 2 months. Yep, already. Embarrassing. This is embarrassing that your champion face that you have pushed through the moon, not just to the moon, through the moon, had to stop her promo and ask the crowd to stop whatting and booing her. This has gone to embarrassing levels. It's cringeworthy, where I may seriously have to start muting the TV now when she's out there because I don't want to totally be taken out of the realm of wrestling. You know, you want to suspend your disbelief. You don't want characters to... and then you feel bad for them, too. Like, I kind of actually felt bad for Charlotte as well. I think the poor kid honestly thought that if I just go away for a long time, they're going to love me long time. That doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that, man. It's embarrassing. That was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in pro wrestling. Like, naturally embarrassing. And that basically, for all intents and purposes, ended hour number 1. LA Knight and Rey Mysterio started hour number 1, but the post-match festivities led into hour 2. So we're going to cover that for hour 2. So that was the end of hour 1. Just an embarrassing moment, an embarrassing situation. And at some point, even though she's a Flair and she has that name, and you want her to beat his record, championship record. She's at 14. What's he, 16? You want her to get 17? Listen, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter how long she goes away for. It can be a decade. you have to repackage her somehow and hope for the best. I don't even know if we're ever going to connect with her now. I seriously don't, guys. It might have been ruined for good. That was such a sad, sad scenario. Hour number 2, SmackDown, 3/24/23, LA Knight versus Rey Mysterio. The match went nearly 10 minutes. Dominik Mysterio was just enough of a distraction on the outside for LA Knight to pick up the W. Finally get a victory in WWE, man. Come on. How many times, how many weeks are you going to see LA Knight, somebody with that much potential and talent, and the crowd actually does connect with? Imagine if you did give him a little bit of that rocket. Give him a little bit of a wing, a little bit of the tip, the end of the rocket, but give him some type of good booking. Could you imagine if you gave casuals a chance to want to get behind him? And yet every week we're seeing him in weird mad. He just lost 2 minutes via a fruit roll-up to Xavier Woods, I think last week, right? Something like that. Guys, here, even though Dominik was the distraction, and even though, by the way, it was that damn pesky fruit roll-up, by the way. He won via the fruit roll-up. I can't stand the roll-up. But beggars can't be choosers, man. I don't care if it was via the finger poke of doom move. You guys remember Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, I think it was? Is that what it was? I think Jeff Jarrett was in a finger poke of doom as well. That's when you just poke somebody, they fall. It's obviously pre-orchestrated. But then they fucking, they're like friends, and they just fall for the other person to win. The finger poke of doom, WCW. I think that was Nash and Hogan. I don't even care if it was that. LA Knight, needed needed a victory, man. I'm taking this thing, and I ain't looking back, and I know a lot of you guys are as well. And I know LA Knight, is also taking this win. He doesn't care if it's via a fruit roll-up, and he's running with that shit. LA needed that W. Now, post-match, all right, so LA Knight, I didn't see him after that. I think he really did take that W, and he ran to the back. Rumor has it, he hasn't been seen since. Nobody has taken that W away from LA Knight. So after the match, this is when it really got good, man. Class was in session. Storytelling 101. And today's lesson was how to tell a father-son dispute story to perfection. Because that's what we all learned in class last night. In Storytelling 101. The father-son dispute story told to perfection. Rey's entire family, just as was said on Monday night. Dominik said, San Diego, the family's going to be there. That's going to be the perfect opportunity to really embarrass you, Dad, until you accept my challenge for WrestleMania. So he was good on his word. The family was there. His just amazingly, just next level beautiful sister, Aaliyah, was in the crowd. Right next to her was Dominik's mother, ultra badass. And after this match, man, Dominik's mother, his real mommy, he got into the face of his real mommy. And Dominik looks at his sister first and says, "You're stupid." Looks at his mother and says, "Ma, shut up." And I mean with authority. You could see the spit coming out of his mouth right on his real mommy. He said to his sister, "You're stupid. Ma, shut up." And that was it, man. That was enough to spark the rage within Rey. And Rey marches right up to his son and without hesitation delivers a Power Ranger. You see what I did there? A Power Ranger punch. Heard round the world. Last week was the hug heard round the world. After months of epically beautifully storytelling, the hug heard round the world was such a moment. And that was with a hug. And now after months of epically beautifully storytelling, we got the punch, the Wabaka, the Power Ranger punch heard around the world. Because it was so masterfully drawn out. The right way, to perfection. The punch heard, it was what we've all been waiting for. Every week you're just like, fuck it, I know we should wait a little longer, but let's just do it now. This kid needs to be punched. And you got it last night, man. The punch heard around the world. Rey accepts Dominik's WrestleMania challenge. as Dominik, like, skirts off, finally gets to his feet. He looks like he's in tears, man. I'll try to put that maybe in the thumbnail. He looks like he's in tears. Dad! That's awesome, bro. So good. The family played it so good, man. Aaliyah and the real mommy played it so beautifully. The whole segment was just like to perfection. The whole story, for the most part, there's been some cold times, but for the most part, this story has been flying under the radar because the Bloodline storyline has been so masterful. And then you had Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Yeah, that was a wacky story, but it was capturing the interest of most fans. You saw it in metrics, TV ratings. Bray Wyatt and LA Knight going into the Royal Rumble. That was like on everybody's radar. Dominik and Ray just took a back seat, man. They were like in the trunk riding on this road to WrestleMania. And they showed you that, no, yeah, there's some good storylines going on in WWE right now, but we're one of the best. And they reminded you of that last night, and now we get the culminating moment at WrestleMania, dude. Wow, Power Ranger punch, I call it. It was, he laid into it. It was so beautifully done. Dominik sells it beautifully. Man, you get that. And afterwards, man, CM Punk on Rey's, I think it was Rey's Insta, he put up, the image of him looking over Dominik after he just wabaka'd him. And he says, every man has a line, something, something, something. And CM Punk goes, thank you, Rey. I've been wanting to do that for 13 years. So CM Punk was watching World Wrestling Entertainment SmackDown, man. CM Punk positioning for a WWE return. Oh, boy, here we go. But what the guys, that was just, it was huge, man. If you haven't actually seen the segment, watch that shit. Even if you don't want, the LA match is real quick anyway. Actually, no, it wasn't. They put a commercial break in there, maybe even 2. So that was actually 10 full minutes. So it wasn't a quick match. But even if you bypass the LA Knight match, he won by a fruit roll-up. You ain't missing that much. You gotta check out that post-match segment, though, man. Dominik and Ray, Aaliyah, Mommy, real Mommy. Everybody played it so awesome. I can't give it more praise than I am. And on a stacked WrestleMania card, this just made it even more stacked. Women's WrestleMania Showcase qualifier. We're qualifying for these matches. And it got sad, too. Wait till you hear what happens at the end of this match. But we have to qualify for a women's 8-man schmaz match at WrestleMania, which is just saying we don't have anything for you, so we're just throwing you all into this match. And they're still doing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for the men as well. So they're doing, for the women and the men, they both get an 8-man tag match at Mania. And they're still doing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal next Friday night for the men, at least. I don't know if the women are going to have one. No, because it's Andre, unless he had a sister called Andrea, maybe. Andrea Memorial Battle Royal. It would be like Santino and Santina. I think it's just for the men. But guys, listen to this. Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt seems to be completely off the table. No Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy last night as well. No mention of Bobby Lashley. I'm going to go ahead and say that match is officially canceled. And that's sad coming from a big Bray Wyatt fan. This is a big Bray Wyatt channel. But I also feel bad for Bobby Lashley. I mean, could you imagine having nothing for Mania to the point where you have to be in an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Obviously, he'll win it, but is that really a prize? I love Andre the Giant. We all do. But that's sad what happened to Bobby Lashley. It's negligence, actually. It's reckless booking. So anyway, we're qualifying to get into this stupid WrestleMania match. Natty and Shotzi is a team versus Zaya Lee and Lacey Evans. All right, and now realistically, nobody's ever going to beat Lacey Evans and Zaya Lee. Let's be honest. Think about them too. Okay, like real life badasses. Ain't nobody real. You're going to put Shotzi and Natty against them? Like, obviously they're not going to win, right? Knowing WWE, they would have them win, though. And sure enough, that's what happened. In less than 5 minutes, Zaya Lee taps out to Natty's sharpshooter. But BC, she accidentally got knocked out by the women's right first. And then moments later, man, took a whole fucking full minute by the time the sharpshooter was put on. Shotzi's doing dives to the outside. I don't care how we got there. Less than 5 minutes, Zaya Lee taps out to Natty's sharpshooter. At this point, in all honesty, why even have Zaya Lee on the damn roster? Why have her on the damn roster, man? If you have nothing for her, which is criminal to somebody like BC who knows her potential and talent, why even have her on the roster if this is how you're booking her? They honestly, they add no value in her because they don't see value in her. But meanwhile, you can go back to the Charlie. That's who's going to get the title on day one, get all the fucking main events, get all the posters, get everything. And that's the reaction Charlie still gets. Zaya Lee's right there. She's never had a chance to showcase, especially the casual fans of anybody, why they should care about her because the machine never cared about her. I could not tell you how pathetic Zaya Lee has been used in this company. Xia Li can literally destroy most of the entire women's roster. And Lacey Evans is a real-life friggin' Marine. Think about what I just said. Xia Li, I call her the Brock Lesnar of the women's division. Xia Li can take out most, if not all, of the women's roster. But if not all, most, like IRL, real-life shit, can take them all out. And Lacey Evans is an actual friggin' Marine. And Shotzi and Natty beat them in roughly 4 minutes. Just over 4 minutes. You can't make that shit up. Only in WWE can a chick riding a fake plastic tank defeat a woman who drove an actual military tank. Post-match, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler make their way halfway down the ramp. They don't even get in the ring. And they announce that they have been added to the 8-woman schmaz match at WrestleMania to literally no reaction. We're going to be in the match at WrestleMania, the 8-woman tag schmaz. No reaction. Crickets. You would think it's Charlie out there. Crickets. Nothing. You could hear a pin drop. And by the way, I thought everyone had to qualify. That's what we started on Monday. That's what you just had last night. Ronda and Baszler then come out after a... Guys, I want you to understand how stupid this is. After a qualifying match. After a qualifying match, Ronda and Shayna come out and say, by the way, we're in the match too. But then why did we just watch a qualifying match Monday? A qualifying match just now, before they came out, and then you just come out and say we're in the match. It's not like you were even like tag. You can't even make it make sense, right? Like BC, they were tag champions. That's why. So what Adam Pearce is doing, BC, is he's just putting the champions. Like you get an advantage because you used to be tag team champions. Guys, you forget one thing: they were never tag team champions. Ronda and Shayna have done nothing on the tag team scene. They won a couple of matches on TV. A couple, maybe, tops, as a tag team. That was it. Ronda got a little arm injury, so they had to take him out of any tag team situation 2-on-2 at WrestleMania. And Ronda will be more protected with all of these other ladies around her, so she doesn't have to utilize that injured arm too much. She could still participate, be on the posters. You know, they want Ronda to be a part. But they were never tag team champions. They've never done anything in the women's tag team division. There still is no tag team division for the ladies. Even with titles, it's still a non-existent division because there's irrelevancy placed at an all-time high. So I'm still trying to fathom the next morning. How the fuck could you even try to make it make sense that Ronda and Shayna would just be added to the match? Makes zero sense. It's WWE reverting back to their old ways a little bit, man. Pathetic. Contract signing for the IC title match at WrestleMania. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre all in the ring. Sheamus and Drew just want to fight one another. Gunther just wants to fight Adam Pearce. Gunther is screaming at Adam Pearce to justify why he has to take on two dudes for the title at WrestleMania. And Gunther is literally yelling at Pearce, justify it! Justify! Why do I have to do this? Justify! Guys, BC loved this, man. I love it because it is believable. I would be pissed too, right? It's realistic. Like, if you're told that you have to defend your title, which you have honorably been defending it for the most part, Imperium rears their ugly heads here and there, okay, but for the most part, Gunther's like, he's a badass champ, everybody knows it. Why would you have to take on 2 fucking people just because you can't get your ducks in a row, Pearce? So in real life, if you were a champion honorably for the most part, and you're going to Mania, why should you not have a one-on-one match for your title? Why do you have to take on 2 people? Like, if you're Gunther, wouldn't you be pissed off every time we get a triple threat or a fatal 4? The champion isn't that pissed. They're like, they have like a 10-second tantrum, right? This is unfair. Whatever, man. I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to show you all. No, Gunther was in this dude's face. Justify it. He is fucking pissed. And he just wants to, and then he signs it anyway. Pearce is pissing his pants, and he just signs it because Gunther is that type of dude. He's not scared. But he showcases like honorableness at all times. Is that a word? Honorableness? He just showcases that he wants to be and is going to prove that he's the better man at all times. And he doesn't feel what Pearce did was a stand-up, classy, man-to-man move. He doesn't feel it's honorable. He doesn't feel there's justification. So he was going to sign it no matter what, but he's like, justify this, you coward. I just loved it, man. It made me love Gunther even fucking more than I'm sure most of us already do. He signs it, and then we have this like, we go into some schmaz. Butch jumps the table like a wild hyena, and we go to break, and when we come back, we have Gunther versus Butch. Butch is like that one relative's chihuahua that won't shut the fuck up when you visit. You know, you have a relative, you visit, and you know they have that one little annoying freaking dog. Fucking yaps away, and you just want to fucking muzzle it for just a moment. Put your fucking sock, your foot, your boot in it for a minute. But you don't, because we love the little furry fucks. But you just wish you would shut up for a fucking second, right? Yapping away like a hyperactive bottle of fuck nuts. And then gnawing away at Gunther's ankle like Larry the dog attacking Kenny Omega at Brawl Out. Needless to say, this little chihuahua Butch gets handled. Gunther defeats Butch. Gunther defeats Butch. Caleb Braxton comes out of his locker room. My Butch just got defeated. Not Butch. Butch, it's been a long podcast, guys. Long review. Gunther defeats Butch. Not much more to talk about there. We're ready to get to WrestleMania. Let Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther just beat the fuck out of one another. Main event segment was KO's show featuring guest Sami Zayn. Not much of anything happened here. It was only 5 minutes in length. That's what she said. It was 5 minutes in length. KO gives Sami a shirt. Front says WrestleZania. Back says KO Mania. They hug it out. The Usos attack for like 8 seconds. That's what she said. The Usos attack for 8 seconds. They then run out of the ring. Michael Cole says, but the damage has been done. But Sami and KO are both on their feet yelling at the Usos when Michael Cole says the damage has been done. Or at least like 4 seconds later, they're on their feet. What damage was done? Usos came in to attack for 8 seconds, guys. And then literally just kind of ran away. Zayn and Owens get right back up after Michael Cole says, wow, the damage has been done. And they're like, fine. They're yelling back. And we ended the show. They dropped the ball on that. That storyline was so hot. Last week was such a one of many culminating moments that we'll be looking forward to in the future, especially at WrestleMania when Zayn and Owens hoist up those titles. But they dropped the ball. It's like they had nothing for it, you know. They had nothing for Roman and Cody. And you saw that at the start of the show when Cody had to spend 20 minutes trying to beat Ludwig Kaiser. They had nothing. They didn't even have a good back and forth promo with Paul and Cody planned. So they had nothing, and Roman doesn't want to work these dates anyway. He barely wants to work Fridays, and he just doesn't work Mondays. Another reason why the titles have to come off. So they had nothing for Cody and Roman. They had nothing for the Usos and Kevin and Sami. The whole bloodline story was just forgotten about. It's like they put the chips into Rey Mysterio and Dominik, and they should be very thankful and grateful that went off without a hitch and was done to perfection, because we're talking about that and not the lackluster BS surrounding it, especially with what happened to Zaya Lee. Charlotte Flair's embarrassing segment. Ronda and Shayna announcing they're in a match that everyone else is qualifying for. I mean, the women's division is in shambles right now. Thank goodness Kana Asuka and Bianca Belair are trying to save it over on the red brand. But everything else on this show, man, this did not scream like you're a week away from WrestleMania. I'm not expecting the biggest rating on this show. And I don't know if the buzz is going to lead into Raw. Raw's been hurting, man. It can't even get into the 1/8s. And we're a week before WrestleMania. I don't know if SmackDown did enough to tell people to tune in Monday. So there was not a lot of good on this show. But man, that one storyline, Baka, the Power Ranger punch. For the ages, bro. 2 weeks in a row, SmackDown has had. Ooh, I need another fresh coffee, bro. It's been a long podcast. This is 2 weeks in a row that SmackDown has had. There you go. Two culminating, epic, monstrous moments that got the crowd just buzzing at an all-time high. The hug heard around the world and the punch heard around the world. That's it, guys. That's what I got for you. Clearly, I need another coffee. I'm losing it, man. That's going to do it for the week, unless there's a big story that rocks the wrestling world, man. Next time we're at this will be next week, Monday. We'll be talking Monday Night Raw and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I thank you so much for just an amazing week. We have put out so much content. So many hours of the Amped Up podcast. I wanted to do something so special for you guys, man, for sticking with the channel for years. Here we are going into Mania. I said, let's stop at the little videos here and there. Let's do full Amped Up podcast, man. Like hour-long podcast, nonstop, man. Let's just fucking one after the other. Like, you guys will never be bored with content. We'll cover so many topics and subjects and big news stories, little news stories. And so I started to do that a little over a week ago. And this week, man, wow. So many awesome Amped Up podcasts. And you guys were there every step of the way, every minute, every second. I cannot thank you guys enough. My entire red team of the Amplified unit. And to my gold team, my channel members, bro, front lines, the ultimate respect. Let's kick ass this weekend. Think, be, live, amped, always. There shouldn't be a moment you ain't thinking, being, living, amped up. And until next time, top guy, I'm out. BC saying check you.